Look, I actually kind of like doing these. We got the Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. 10 things you need to know from Gameranx. I'm gonna be real. What the Pokemon Arceus, the Pokemon that came out in February or March this year, January, I don't know when it came out. I'm gonna be the first one to say it, I guess. I don't know. Maybe people liked it, but I'm gonna say it was a flop, man. I really appreciated being in an open world. I really liked it. First off, you gave me a dead open world. And then second off, why the hell would you put me in a prehistoric Pokemon era, dog? Like, why am I just like, in theory, it sounds cool being the first person to realize like what Pokemon are. You know, oh, these are our companions. And then I forgot what region that you're actually in, but you played before. I think it's the Diamond region. I think Diamond and Pearl region. I don't know what that's called. But I mean, so in theory it's cool, but the execution was trash in my opinion, bro. Like I appreciated being kind of like a quasi samurai Pokemon trainer. But yeah, that lasted for about like 3 or 4 hours, and then I was out of there, man. So I hope Scarlet and Violet is way better. I hope they fleshed out their issues. I hope they give me what I want, man. Like, bro, it's not hard to make a Pokemon game, bro. We've been buying this same, really, we've been buying the same thing for like 25 years, dude, and no one's tired of it. We always fiending for a new Pokemon game, bro. Don't mess up a good thing, man.
Pokemon is a large, looming presence over all of gaming, and 3 words: new mainline Pokemon. And this time around, there's a lot of new stuff. Hi folks, it's Falcon, and today
cool new mainline Pokemon
on Gameranx, 10 things you need to know about Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. We're not going to mess around. We're just going to get right into it. Starting off at number 10, this is the first actual open world title of the franchise, period. Now, we can say, like, this is the first mainline Pokemon game to be open world, because Arceus is kind of, but here, hold on. So, everything connects together seamlessly. There's no borders for towns. The world is open, free, entirely for you to explore. Battles take place on the open world map, etc. Arceus had these very large zones to explore, but they actually were all separate maps. Now, it functioned very much like an open world game. And also, Pokemon Sword and Shield had a large wild area. But again,
hey, Sword and Shield was trash, bro. I beat that in like 20 hours. When have you ever known a Pokemon game to be so short?
There were more traditional routes in towns, and it was all enclosed like a regular Pokemon game. In this one, that's not the case. Everything is just out there in the open world. It's one big interconnected map, or maps. I don't know if it's 100% seamless, but from everything that we've seen, it sure looks like it is. And it's incredibly ambitious for a Pokemon game, and we're excited to see just exactly to what extent this world is open. The game takes place in a new region, the Paldea region, which is based on the Iberian Peninsula. It's kind of the Pokemon version of Spain, which is going to make for an interesting change of pace. The trailers have shown some pretty picturesque locations, and I have a feeling this is going to be a great place to explore. And you're going to be able to explore it like never before. Moving on to number 9, you got to talk starters if you're going to talk a Pokemon game. There are also some other notable Pokemon as well, but it's another Pokemon game, so that means new starters. This year, we're getting a grass-type cat Pokemon named Sprigatito. There is a fire...
If you pick the duck, that just tells me all I need to know about you, bro.
Fire-type crocodile Pokemon named Fuecoco, and a water-type duck Pokemon named... I mean, the other two have, like, vaguely Spanish-sounding names, and this one's named Quaxley. But, I mean, look at the pompadour on this duck. He has got style for days. I like all the starters, actually, but I think Quaxley is getting the top spot from us just for the hair helmet. As usual, there's going to be new regional variations on some classic Pokemon, like the Paldean Wooper, which looks a little more poisonous than its standard version. Like previous games, there's also some version-exclusive Pokemon, like this Fire Warrior Pokemon called Armarouge, who's exclusive to Pokemon Scarlet, and Ceruledge, blue fire Pokemon that is exclusive to Violet. One guy that's new that has people really curious is this humble creature called Wiglet. It's Diglett, but more worm-like. And interestingly enough, it's not a regional Pokemon, it's just a new one. One last standout, at least to me, is the ghost dog Pokemon Graverd. I don't know exactly how to say it yet. Apparently, if you hang out with this guy too long, you slowly lose life force, which sucks, obviously, but it's probably just another one of the Pokemon Company's weird descriptions. I find it hard to believe that they would actually siphon health off of you if you have him. Of course, there's also the legendaries, but we'll get into those later because there's a lot to talk about there too. At number 8, there's 3 story paths. Scarlet and Violet embraces the open world in some pretty radical ways. Instead of having a simple linear story, like pretty much every other Pokemon game up until this point, this game has 3 different story paths you can take. You can do them in whatever order you want. There's nothing stopping you from walking away from one to do another. And this is an exciting level of freedom for the Pokemon series. We're pretty interested to see how this is all going to work out. The 3 paths are Victory Road, Path of Legends, and Starfall Street. Victory Road, what you would expect. You face off against the region's 8 gym leaders and become the new Pokemon champion. What makes it different is that you can tackle the gyms in whatever order you want. There's no set path to completion, and they're all available, and you decide which ones to take on first. Along with the regular gym battles, there are also gym tests you have to complete before you're allowed to enter the gym. They kind of seem like mini games or side quests, similar to the stuff that you had in Pokemon Sun and Moon. The Path of Legends is actually about taking on gigantic Titan Pokemon in a quest to find the legendary Herba Mystica, a special healing herb. Instead of being city-focused, it's more about exploring the wilds and sounds similar to the types of things you were doing in Arceus. The final path is Starfall Street, and in this one you're taking on the Team Rocket of this game, Team Starfall. These guys are split into various groups, have their own leaders, and it's up to you to take them down. Right now, we don't know exactly how much story content each of these different paths is going to have, but there's 2 non-gym stories, and they could be glorified side quests, or they could be full-on campaigns. We don't know, and we're very excited to find out. At number 7 is 4-player multiplayer. This is huge. Obviously, Pokemon has dabbled in multiplayer before, but with Scarlet and Violet, you're going to explore the world with 3 other players if you want to. Like, there's the regular trading and battle features that have been with the series since the beginning, but you can literally explore the world and do pretty much everything there is to do in the game in 4-player multiplayer. It's another feature that sounds really ambitious, so we're really interested to see how this gets implemented. We don't know a lot about it yet, and I have a feeling like it's not going to make full sense until the game's released. And number 6 is going to be rideable legendaries. Okay, so like normal for a Pokemon, there are 2 legendary Pokemon, with each one being exclusive to each version of the game. There's Koraidon, a wild-looking lizard Pokemon, exclusive to Scarlet, and Miraidon, a futuristic purple creature, exclusive to Violet. That's standard, but you can actually ride them, similar to Pokemon mounts in Arceus. Both of these can go pretty much anywhere. They have like a standard bike form, but they can also travel over water and even glide through air. Like, the level of freedom they offer as mounts it seems to be basically the best way to get around in terms of what's in your way. So hopefully unlocking them isn't too much of a pain. It's possible they're unlocked at the end of the Path of Legends story, which would be great for completing the other 2. At number 5, the new terastal phenomenon. Whether it's Z-moves, Mega Evolutions, or Dynamax forms, Pokemon games love their unique mechanics, and Scarlet and Violet's no different. This time, it's about the crystals and the new terastal phenomenon mechanic. This boosts the stats and changes the types to a Terra type, which also gives them a snappy new piece of headwear. Apparently, if your Pokemon does a move that matches their Terra type, you do extra damage, so there is a bit of strategy involved with this too. Like a lot of these kinds of mechanics, you can only use it once per battle, and it ends when the fight ends. To transform, you'll need to fill a special meter that can be recharged at a Pokemon Center or from collecting gems out in the open world. Raid battles are back from Pokemon Sword and Shield, but with a slight twist. They're called Terra Raid battles, which you can team up with 3 other trainers to take on a big terastalized Pokemon. Like with previous raids, you can play with NPCs or with other players online, and like the previous raid modes, there is a time limit. One big change is that you don't have to wait your turn to choose the next move though. The battles are still turn-based, but you can pre-select your next move, so hopefully there's a little less downtime during the raids this time around. It seems interesting. At number 4, there's small but some pretty significant quality of life features. Scarlet and Violet sounds like it's a pretty generational leap forward for the series. The game wants to modernize the classic formula a bit, and you can see how they're trying to do that with some small but important gameplay changes. For instance, there's a new auto battle command. If you're just running around, you can command your fight Pokemon, "Let's go," which sends them out to attack whatever wild Pokemon is close by. They'll complete the fight all on their own, so the entire fight's done without your involvement. basically a super streamlined auto battle technique. You can use this command to send Pokemon out to collect items as well. I don't know if there's a downside to this or what. Like, does it leave you short one Pokemon if you run into a fight after sending them out? We'll just have to wait and see on that. Another even smaller thing that should be a big deal to Pokemon fans out there is how trainer battles work. Now, instead of running up to you when they have line of sight, trainer battles are only triggered when you go up and talk to them. So yeah, no trainer ambushes. You heard right. You're just free to engage with trainer battles whenever. That's a promising change, but hopefully it doesn't make the game feel too easy, although I just would prefer that. Like, it's so much better to be able to choose when you do.
I see what he's saying on that part, because it, like, at a point, because if it was up to me, I wouldn't fight any random trainers. But then on the other hand, I would want to fight. I would want their exclamation mark to, you know, detect me and go to me. But then at a certain point, bro, you're just trying to get to your destination, bro, and you literally got to bob and weave these fucking trainers, and you already know how they are. But if you start running, hey, but you start running, you know they be quick as hell with that, man. They really be fast as hell with that. Hey, you want to battle? Let's battle, man. It's like, bro, I'm just trying to get to the Pokemon Center, dog. Like, I literally have one Pokemon left. He's on 30 HP. Like, fuck it. All right, man.
Do that. At number 3, classic TMs are back. Well, the game is innovating in a few key areas. When it comes to TMs, it looks like it's going full old school. These items, which are used to train Pokemon with new moves, are back, but they're back as one-use items. Now, this presents a couple of possibilities. Hopefully, the TMs end up feeling like rewards rather than things you have to grind resources to get. But I actually think this is a good idea if it is the former. So to make up for the limited use aspect of it, Pokemon Centers now come with technical machines, which you can use to craft your own TMs using league points and materials. Now, hopefully crafting isn't a lot of a chore. It's a little iffy there because we don't know the implementation yet, but otherwise I like this change. Making TMs one use makes each one feel like a bigger deal, so they feel a little more rewarding to use. But again, hopefully they end up feeling like rewards.
Does that mean like I can only use it one time? Like if I have Thunderbolt and I want to give it to Pikachu, Pikachu uses the TM Thunderbolt, and then that's it. The TM's gone, so I can't use that TM to train someone else or to teach someone else that. That's what it means, right? Because like what I got at first was that he was saying that if Pikachu uses the TM Thunderbolt in battle, that shit is gone. Now you have to go back to a Pokemon Center so he can relearn that move again. I don't think that's what he was talking about.
You're not spending a mindless amount of time on them. And number 2 is version differences. There's the usual 2 legendaries and different Pokemon depending on the version, whether you chose to play Pokemon Scarlet or Violet. But that's not where the version differences end this time. I've already mentioned some of the different Pokemon and the different legendaries you'll encounter depending on which version of the game, but there's some other major changes as well. For the first time in the series, depending on which version of the game you pick, you actually get a different Pokemon professor. Pokemon Scarlet gets you Professor Sada, while Violet has Professor Turo. Each one embodies the style of the game. Sada wears a throwback almost caveman costume, while Turo wears a futuristic outfit. The theme of the game is past versus future, with Scarlet containing the past stuff, Violet containing the future stuff. Depending on which version of the game you have, it affects the school that you belong to. If you choose Pokemon Scarlet, the character attends Naranja Academy, Naranja meaning orange in Spanish, and of course having an orange symbol, where if you pick Violet, you go to Uva Academy, which is purple. Your starting uniform matches with the school you attend, and your enemies in Team Star also change their uniform depending on the version of the game as well. And finally, at number 1, the release date and everything else you need to know. So,
18.
Nintendo Switch, as you probably know already, as an exclusive on November 18th. There are some purchase bonuses too. There's an adventure set, which is basically just a bunch of items. Not terribly interesting, but if you buy the game before February 23rd, 2023, you get a special Pikachu that somehow knows the move Fly, which it's never been able to learn before. You'll be able to access that through the mystery gift feature, which is nice for early adopters of the game. There's also a double pack that contains both versions of the game for a whopping 0% discount. That's $119.99 in US dollars. I know this has been the standard forever, but like, Would a 10% discount to buy both games at once really kill them?
I would have done that.
I don't think so. Anyways, we're really looking forward to sit down with this game. What do you think? Leave us a comment. Let us know if you like this video.
No, I would have done that if the double pack was like maybe like that total is 120. If it was like 100, 110, I really would have considered it because I really kind of want. This is like maybe the first Pokemon game or first Pokemon series that I've actually thought about buying both of them, and they both look clean. Like they both look like legendaries I want. The only other Pokemon that Pokemon game that I could think of was Diamond and Platinum. I didn't know, not Pearl, Diamond and Platinum. I have both of those, man. But yeah, Scarlet and Violet, it looks very good, man. I am excited about some things. I am kind of questionable about some other things, but I'm a huge Pokemon fan, bro. Like I can't tell you how many hours like I put in Pokemon, man. Like I just love it, man. And it's one of the because it's so simple, but it's so like entertaining. It's crazy, man. And like I said, my problem with Arceus was, yeah, they expanded it, but it feels like they expanded it for no reason. Like this looks like it was put like a lot more thought has been put into it than Arceus, man. Like I'm really excited about this, man. But we'll see, man. Hey, it comes out on the 18th, man. I'm pretty excited. I thought it came out at the beginning of November, but it turns out no. I don't know if they had a date change or what, but I'm ready to cop.
Gotta catch a vibe, yeah, I had to put her on. Bought a two-seater, yeah, we heading for the sun. Shawty got my high, I ain't tripping for the funds. Yeah,